As infection rates drop across the country, there's a possibility social distancing laws could be relaxed sooner rather than later. But are we getting ahead of ourselves, or is life about to get back on track quicker than we thought?
The health experts give us advice to say that there's an opportunity to relax any part of the existing restrictions. We will take that advice.
Can I give you a definitive end date? Sadly, no.
We are looking at 6 months here.
These days of social isolation can be very confusing.
The shutdowns and various restrictions are working, but what specifically works the best, we don't know yet.
Should we be relaxing our strict rules?
The measures that we've put in place are just starting to work.
What would that even look like? And what could that do to our infection rates?
There'll be more people admitted to our hospitals and more people who will succumb to the virus. That's a fact.
Make no mistake, social distancing is here to stay. Get used to remaining 1.5 metres away from everyone when you're outside your home. But with infection rates dropping, restrictions could begin to ease from May 1. And our experts say it's outdoor activities where we could start to get a reprieve.
The large numbers of cases come from things like dinners, they come from things like school events where adults are coming to them. They come from, in Singapore, they come from dormitories where lots of workers are housed close together. They're not coming from picnics and so on.
Associate Professor James Wood is from the School of Health and Public Medicine at the University of New South Wales. He speculates that the strict two-person rule could be the first to go.
We don't have an evidence base for what that number should be. I mean, we're being restrictive because we're being careful because we don't want this thing to spread. But whether two is important or whether it's just maintaining adequate distance but allowing groups still to meet outdoors, those are the sorts of questions I think are going to be discussed.
That may mean exercising with more than one person might be allowed, assuming you keep appropriate spacing. Boot camps and fitness groups, perhaps. Parks and playgrounds could be back on the table, and eating your lunch on a park bench may be okay. There's also likely to be discussions on whether parents will be encouraged to send their children to school.
We're very closely getting advice on what term 2 in schools will look like. We're looking very closely at what our business activity can look like. I don't want to raise expectations.
While New South Wales Premier Gladys Berejiklian suggested today we could potentially see some relaxing of rules at the start of next month, the other state premiers aren't as optimistic.
There is no talk of easing restrictions at this stage.
And many experts agree.
Karen, do you think we should be relaxing restrictions?
In my view, it's way too soon to be talking about relaxing the restrictions because we haven't given them enough time to have their full effect. And we now have cases of community transmission.
Dr. Karen Phelps says not only do we need to be patient with our current way of life, she believes that before we relax any restrictions, we need to consider some extra safeguards.
We need to think about what some other countries are doing before they relax lockdowns, like wearing a mask when you leave the house. We need to look at recommendations like the CDC, the Centre for Disease Control and Prevention in the United States, to wear a cloth mask in public. In Austria, the Czech Republic, Slovakia and Israel, they're looking at people needing to wear masks in public. It's become compulsory. And I think that these are the sorts of measures that we need to carefully consider and recommend before we relax the lockdowns here.
The message remains the same from our experts as it has for the last month. We are not out of the woods yet. There's still so much we don't know about this virus.
We don't know at the moment, for example, whether the virus will be more transmissible in winter than it has been in summer.
We don't know how many people are out there in the community who don't have symptoms, who could be passing it on to other people.
We may trial easing, and then we may see that cases start to rise again, and then we may have to reinstitute things.
We are doing this to save lives. If we ease the restrictions too soon, we will lose lives, and nobody wants that on their conscience.
No, we don't. We're running a poll on our Facebook page asking, should we start to relax the tough restrictions put in place to prevent the spread of COVID-19? 85% of you said no, we shouldn't, while only 15% of you said yes, we should.